Brother and sister bear love soccer. They are good at it too. They can pass and dribble, they can head the ball, they can do corner kicks. They're good at throw-ins, they are good goalies. Brother and sister are on the Rockets. They play other teams around Bear Country. The whole family goes to every game. They cheer for brother and sister. Papa and Honey are good at cheering. But Mama does much more. Welcome back to Deep in Bear Country, a Berenstain Bearcast. I am your host, Phil Gonzalez, and what is sport? Is darts sport or game? Are all sport game? All game aren't sport. Sport require exertion of the physical. Therefore, bowling is sport. Golf is sport. Dart is sport. Chess, not sport. Sport requires scoring and winning or losing. Therefore, lawn mowing is not sport. Lawn mowing is not game. Lawn mowing is chore. Chore, sport, game. Life falls into one of these three categories at all times. Everything you do is either sport, chore, or game. Eating a food? Sport. No, chore. Tying a shoe? Chore. Taking a test? Game. Winning a heart? Sport. Physical exertion? Winner, loser. As a kid, I excelled at not excelling at sports. I had zero interest in sports. I have zero interest in sports, to the degree that my one hope as a parent was and is and remains and has always been, please, dear God in heaven, please, dear God in heaven, please let my children never become interested in sports of any kind. Please, I wish I never have to go to a children's sporting event of any sort because they are boring and I don't have the energy to feign interest in anything for that long, even if it would make me appear to be a good father for those 12 hours or however long a child's sporting event is. I would have to completely ignore my child and my family for the remainder of the weekend just to make up for the severe drain on my personal mental energy. So pretty please, dear Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or Agamemnon or Santa Claus or the snake demons, please just let my children never want to sport and I will love you forever. Amen. Or something to that effect. My sister was the sporter in the family. Swimming, soccer, drill team. She did them all. She did those. Football games? She was there. She still goes to her college's football games. Like, not only did she care about her college football team while she attended an already bizarre and alien concept to me, she still cares about her college's football team. That's like being emotionally invested in a toilet or so. I don't know. It's a meaningless concept. It doesn't make sense to me. And this isn't judgment, by the way. Love what you love. If you love a toilet, love a toilet. I'm just trying to express my extreme befuddlement and confusion because sport is like the one thing on this planet I cannot conceive of loving. Not that I hate it. It's not that I hate sports. I just don't have feelings about them. And I know it seems like I'm having big feelings right now, like I'm getting all worked up, but I'm not getting worked up about sports. I'm getting worked up about my lack of feelings about sports. Like that's what drives me to distraction. That's what made me wonder for the entirety of my life if I was a weird kid or if I was an odd duck or a strange person. I moved to another city. I moved to Minneapolis and people start talking about I grew up in Houston. I grew up in Spring, which is a census designated area just north of Houston. So growing up in Houston, especially in the late 70s, early 80s, we had the Houston Oilers. They were the football team. And we had the Houston Astros. They were the baseball team. And the Houston Rockets were the basketball team. And I don't know. Honestly, I could not possibly tell you what's going on with Houston sports right now. Do not know. I think they're the Houston Texans, which is the weird. Anyway, the Houston Oilers were this football team, and all I really knew about them was that they were number one, because that was what their song said, Houston Oilers number one, that Bum Phillips was the coach, they were a Bum Phillips team, and that they were the enemies or the rivals of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I knew those three things. They were the number one team, according to the song. They were coached by Bum Phillips, and they hated the Pittsburgh Steelers, and so I was supposed to hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we would say Houston Oilers #1, Pittsburgh Steelers suck their thumb. That was what I said when I was like 3 or 4. I did not know anything else beyond that. I did not know what football was, did not know how to play it, did not know how to watch it, did not enjoy it when like my dad was watching it and he would get all worked up and like yell something. And my dad, by the way, not a big like football watcher, but when he did, every once in a while, he'd be like, come on. And I'd be like, that's just a bit too much for me right now. And since then, I went to football games in high school because I had to, because I was in the marching band. So like for like however long those things lasted, however many hours I was there, you were sort of held captive, forced to stare at this incomprehensible event going on in front of you. And then in college, we didn't have sporting teams. I went to a private college with no sporting teams, so great for us. And then, then I moved up to Minneapolis, and it was all of a sudden, it was like Vikings versus Packers. And I was like, oh, that's cute, I guess. Is that a thing people care about? If you don't live in the Midwest, I'm going to answer that question by just saying, yeah, that's a thing people care about. Like, people really do care about the Vikings versus the Packers in the Twin Cities and beyond. Like, that's a thing. I don't know if it's still a big thing. I guess it is. I mean, my social circle has severely like shrunk since I was first moved here, and I mean it expanded and then it shrunk again. So I don't tend to surround myself with people who are like really into it, but I know that people seem to care. Sometimes you'd be stuck on the light rail, like, and there's it's a game. There's a game going on. I'm heading downtown to do X, Y, or Z, and there's like people dressed in purple, and I'm like, wow, you dressed up like a football player, like you put on a football shirt, and that's weird. But I guess, everyone dresses up like things they love, and that's just, I don't know, that's just acceptable. That's just a thing we do. We put on t-shirts that have our favorite cartoon characters on them, and you put on a shirt that has your favorite cartoon character on them, except that cartoon character is a real human being who plays a sport. And you can say, well, that has a little more validity, but it doesn't. I mean, because you're just as likely to ever play professional football as I am to ever go into space. So, like, what's the difference? There's no difference. Those football players are as aware you are alive as, any character from a cartoon or science fiction movie I've ever watched. They are as fictional as, in fact, I know more football players than I do space people because I've met football players and I've hung out with them because of my job. So whatever. I'm just saying that sports are this bizarre entity to me. I'm bad at them. My sister was good at them. She still appreciates them. She likes her college team. I don't know why. She also drives a Jeep, and that's like a whole other thing. Did you know there's a subculture of Jeep drivers? That's a Berenstain Bears book that should exist. Oh, speaking of the Berenstain Bears, the Berenstain Bears love sports, by the way. That's a thing. As you know, if you've listened to this show more than a couple of times, they love all kinds of sports. They love baseball. They love football. They love hockey ball. They love soccer ball. They love all of it. They will go out and participate in it, and they will watch it, and they will be good at it, and they will cheer each other on because of it. And if there's one sport we've covered quite a bit, from the Berenstain Bears get their kicks to the Berenstain Bears too small for the team or whatever it is, all the way up to today, it's soccer ball. The Bears, they love the soccer ball. Even though the first soccer ball book they ever was, I believe, maybe was it the first one? Berenstain Bears get their kicks, because there's also the Berenstain Bears soccer star. The little tiny format book, the McDonald's or Chick-fil-A book, whichever one it was. I can't remember. There was another one. A bunch of soccer books, by the way. I think maybe because it's easy to draw Cubs running. Just kicking a soccer ball, I guess, maybe, or maybe, I don't know, Mike likes drawing soccer balls. Not sure. Maybe his kids played soccer. I have no idea. But I do know that the Cubs love soccer. In Get Their Kicks, Papa had no idea what soccer was. He was like, "Oh, that game with the black and white checkered ball." And if I believe David Kalin was my guest on that episode, and we talked a lot about how in the late '90s there was this sudden surge of interest in soccer in America, and so that was kind of a primer book. Like, let's jump onto this bandwagon because this sport's a blowing up. It was the pickleball of its day. Pickleball being a sport, I guess, that people like, I guess, in the Twin Cities, I guess, because they're building a ton of pickleball courts around here. And someone at a party I went to last weekend said, were it not for pickleball, cornhole would be having its day in the sun right now. But I guess white people in their 30s and 40s love pickleball, so we're building a bunch of infrastructure for that and tearing down all the basketball courts. That is not a lie. That is something that is happening around the Twin Cities. In any case, the Cubs aren't interested in basketball. They're playing soccer ball. And this week's book, that's right, we're covering a book this week. Apologies for last week. I forgot to record an episode, and that's not like a euphemism or anything. I honestly just, Saturday came, and I was like, I feel like I'm forgetting something, and it was it. Which is a shame, because I'm so close to episode 400, and I would be one episode closer if I hadn't forgotten to record an episode. This week's book, 2016's The Berenstain Bears, We Love Soccer by Mike Berenstain. This is an I Can Read book, beginning one level reader. And I've skipped a few books because they are the books I have in between what I just covered and now cover some topics that I'm going to be getting back to, and I want them to be appropriate for when I do them. There's also a big one that I really can't wait to cover, but I want to make sure I have all my information solid. So I'm waiting on those. So we're skipping over to We Love Soccer. Do we love soccer? I mean, I've covered this many times in the show. No, we do not. It is a painful sport to sit through. It is a painful sport to play. It is a painful sport to be interested in. I believe that the only reason people like soccer is because they grew up thinking they liked soccer. The same reason people like Star Wars, more or less. So the Berenstain Bears, but the Berenstain Bears love soccer. They love it so much that the word soccer on the cover has a soccer ball in place of the O. That's how much they love soccer. For you Europeans out there, and pretty much everyone else, this is what you might call football, but we call something else football. Our football involves not using your feet that much. It's a really weird thing. Think of it makes more sense that soccer would be called football. In any case, soccer ball. So they're playing soccer. Why do they love soccer? Well, you heard up top, they're good at it. The Cubs are good at it, and they play on the Rockets, which is their town, Bear Town's team, I guess, because it's not Bear Country's team. Obviously, Bear Country is a country. And if you look at the scoreboard in the picture of them playing soccer, they're playing against the Blue Jays, and it says they play other teams around Bear Country. So I guess the Rockets are the Bear Town team. Let's just go with that. They are the Bear Town team playing the Blue Jays, who have blue outfits. The Rockets have orange and blue outfits, and a rocket on the cover. Mike draws soccer jerseys strangely, and I don't understand. I don't know where he gets this from. His soccer jerseys, they're all long sleeve. The kids wear shorts with stirrups. Like the stirrups aren't attached to the shorts. They're like soccer socks, but with no sock parts because their little cub feet stick out. But the tops are long sleeved with kind of this like almost sailor suit bib, like a sailor suit for like a Japanese private school student or public school student. I don't know how it works in Japan. Like a square bib shape, like around the front and the back. And then the logo is just over. There's no numbers or anything on their jerseys, but these are official soccer jerseys. They also don't wear any knee pads or shin guards or shoulder or elbow pads or anything. I don't understand. Like this is an official team, like with an official scoreboard and a referee and everything. So soccer in Berenstain Bears world, in Bear world, it looks to be a slightly different sport than the one we play. It looks to be football to actual soccer's or earth soccer's rugby, I guess. It's a much lower impact sport, hence the need for, I mean, maybe once you get to a certain level, you don't need shin guards or anything, I guess, but soccer's a pretty full contact sport, as anyone who plays soccer knows. Massive number of head injuries, brain injuries in soccer, by the way, because there's no protection and you're colliding with people all the time and hitting the ground all the time. Some people think that the brain injuries come from the heading of the ball, and that's not true. It's from the full contact nature of the sport. Much like basketball, soccer is a far more impactful sport than people think. And when two people are running towards each other and they collide, you are increasing the amount of kinetic force, like exponentially increasing the amount of kinetic force. It's not like doubled. It's like just hugely multiplied. I think they said that like two professional football players running into each other is the equivalent of being in like 4 car crashes. And even though it's not that bad when like kids are playing sports, you still, when you collide, not even with your heads, when you just collide physically, it's the equivalent of being in a car accident. Like and you have whiplash injuries, you have contra coup injuries, and then you have hitting the ground injuries. There's a lot of contact in these sports. So there's my PSA. I'm getting off my soapbox now. The end. So the idea behind this book, it's not just about them loving. I actually think this might be one of the better sport books that the Berenstain Bears have been involved in. Usually the sport books involve some sort of lesson for the parents. Take your kids' interest seriously, like in Get Their Kicks. Don't pressure your kids too much, like in Phenom in the Family. You don't know more than your kids do about the things they love. Things like that. Or like the nature of competitiveness. Or is sister too small for the team? Things like that. This book actually takes a few of the earlier lessons and reassigns them to a different bear than we're used to seeing. Kind of combines Mama's expertise with Papa's tendency to go overboard, and mooshes those two things together and creates a whole new character called Mama Bear. Mama Bear in this book is a slightly different Mama Bear than we're used to. And you know what? I like this Mama Bear. So the idea is that Papa is there to cheer on the games and to be a good observer from the stands. He's very supportive. He's a very supportive parent. But Mama does more for the Cubs when it comes to their soccer games. She makes all the snacks for the team. And I'm not talking orange slices. I'm talking peanut butter and honey sandwiches. And there's probably some kids out there going through some serious allergy reactions, but Mama don't care. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, working on her 9th full-size peanut butter and honey sandwich with the crust still on. So those hope you're not allergic, little kids, because these sandwiches are coming right at you. She raises money for the uniforms, those weird bib overall things we saw. But we see a shot of her in schmata and vest with her traveling hat on, holding a fundraiser bake sale, and she's selling pies. Is she selling cupcakes? Is she selling cookies? Heck no, she's selling full-size pies for like $5 or $6. That's a great deal, by the way. Full-size homemade pie, $5 or $6. Amazing. She is a good, as it says, soccer mom. And we see her wearing a t-shirt over her dress that says #1 soccer mom. She's very proud. Now, in the past, Mama Bear hasn't been the #1 soccer mom. She has been the soccer coach. Right. Mama isn't just a supportive soccer fan. She is a soccer player. She played soccer in high school, maybe even in college. I don't remember. And she has coached the kids teams. Now, this seems to either be retconned or maybe she just got too busy, because coaching a kids team it's a lot. But unfortunately, that seems to have had some sort of effect on her, because it says sometimes Mama is too good a soccer mom. She cheers too loudly. She jumps up and down and whistles. And we see her doing that Berenstain Bears thing where you put 2 fingers in your mouth and go tweet. She waves signs. Now, waving a sign isn't a big deal, and no one seems to be annoyed around her because of it, but it says Go Rockets. She blows horns. So she's got this big, it could be a brass horn. I think it's probably a plastic horn. It's like a vuvuzela, and it's going toot, and it's very loud, and we see the Cubs in the stands kind of holding their ears, and sister and brother glaring angrily at Mama from the field, which says to me they're not paying attention to the game. Because if you have time to be annoyed at someone in the stands, where's your head at? Where is your head at, Patty LaPone? Stopping a show because someone made a noise in the audience. $30,000 a week, not enough to keep your mind on the show, Patty LaPone? Anyway, that's my Patty LaPone rant. If you're getting paid $30,000 a week, just stay in character. Just keep doing your show. Not paying you to get mad at the audience. Yeah, they're annoying, but you know what you just did, Patty LaPone? You just took me out of the show that I paid good money to see. Now we're all uncomfortable. Thanks. So Mama wants the Cubs to play harder. That's the thing. She thinks they should win every game. We see a picture of the Cubs running their little tails off, playing against the Tigers. Go Tigers! playing against the Tigers, and they're sweating, and they're kind of have these like looks on their faces like, oh God, because Mama's yelling from off field. She signs them up for games far away. So it says Big Bear City game sign up. Travel time 2 hours. All right, that's canon, by the way. Somebody write that down. It is officially 2 hours to Big Bear City, to the Big Bear City game. I don't know. Maybe the stadium is outside the city on the other side. Who knows? 2-hour drive to Big Bear City, though. Now we know how big of a deal it is for Raffish Ralph to hire muscle from Big Bear City, right? Because he's probably not only paying the thugs, he's probably paying their gas costs too and upkeep on their vehicles. So you know that now. Whenever they go to, or when they go to the mall in Big Bear City, that's a hike. Probably not a fun hike, but also the Cubs don't look happy that Mama's signing them up for a game. So now I'm wondering, how does this work? Like, you belong to a team. They belong to the Rockets. Do they just not have to go to every game? Is that how it works? If your kids are on like a junior soccer league, and remember, this is not some like fly-by-night organization. They have official bake sales. They have official uniforms. They play other teams in uniforms. But do the kids like have to sign up for each individual game? What if not enough kids from your team sign up? Do they forfeit? How does this work, Mike? Well, the kids don't like traveling out of city to play their game, which again, that's weird. Like, aren't they team members? Like, again, I'm not a team player at all. I don't like being on teams. I don't like being on a sports team. I don't like teams. But I understand that people do like being on teams, and people are team players, and people enjoy playing sports on teams. Doesn't your love of the game or your love of the team or your love of the sport like override your, like, isn't going to another city with your whole team kind of fun? Like, all your friends and you're on a bus, or maybe just even like carpooling, but then you get there and you play your game, and then you usually go like out to eat or something. Like, isn't that fun? I thought that was fun. I thought that was supposed to be fun for kids. Do they not like that? Is that a lie that parents tell themselves? Do kids actually hate traveling to go play their sports that they seem to enjoy? I don't know. But I know the sister and brother don't like it. They don't like it one bit. But now it's time for soccer practice. Mama's all like, Cubs, come to play soccer practice, almost 3 o'clock. And she can't find them. Well, where are they? They're not in their room. They left their dinosaur out and their stuffed bunny. Oh, they're not outside. She can't find them. They're going to miss practice. Or they're not in the playground. They're not in the park. At this point, I'd be getting worried if I was a kid and I couldn't find, like, if I was my kid's missing at this point. Like, this isn't like those darn Cubs. This is like, help me. My kids are missing. I like that Mike drew the bucking duck in at the park, though. We do like the bucking duck. They're not down by the old swimming hole. I mean, they could be. There's a rope tied to the tree over the swimming hole. They could have bridged to Terabithia themselves right off. We'll never know. There's a giant frog, though, staring at Mama, and she's staring in shock at the frog. So maybe the frog said something, I don't know, dirty to Mama? I don't know. She's looking at the frog, though, and the frog just sort of has this smug smile on his face like, yeah, I said it. What are you going to do? You can't sue a frog. So she starts looking all over the place. She finally finds them. There's a big empty field. It says big empty field, but there's also a parking lot leading right up to it. So I think it's just a park. Like, it says, Mama hears Cubs laughing and shouting. It is coming from behind a big sign. It's a big sign that says vacation in Bear Country, which, okay, maybe Bear Country isn't the name of the country, because that'd be like me passing a big billboard that said vacation in America. I'm like, well, that's easily. Or maybe it's because they're losing vacation dollars to other countries, and they're like, brought to you by the Bear Country Chamber of Commerce or whatever. And like, it's like, vacation in your country, you dingus. Vacation here. Well, it's a big billboard right next to a random parking lot. And there's a big field behind the sign. She peeks around the sign and she sees brother and sister playing soccer. And there's, it could be Trudy Brunowitz. There could be that other nerd girl who showed up, the weird one with the braces. Susie, I think her name is. She sees all these Cubs playing soccer. There's Cousin Fred. There's Lizzie Bruin. There's another Cub with like a side pony. I see Too Tall, Grizzly. I see what looks like a Barry Bruin hanging out. It says they don't have uniforms. They don't even have goals. There's no coaches. There's no referees. In fact, there's no adults anywhere. It's just the Cubs having fun. And Mama thinks to herself, Mama's a good soccer mom, but she forgot something. she forgot to let the Cubs just have fun. And having fun is what playing a game is all about. And we're gonna get to the end here. There's a little bit more of the story. So let me just rush through to the end. Because the Cubs see Mama. Brother's like, I guess Mama wants to play. So they kick the ball to Mama, and she kicks it back hard. It goes like sailing into the goal. Which, by the way, the goal is a rock, like on the ground. I see. I was confused by the picture. I thought that the ball was bouncing off a rock on the ground, and I'm like, well, that's a tough goal. You gotta land it. It's landing between two rocks. And Cousin Fred is the goalie, so of course Mama makes it. So they all decide to play soccer, and eventually Papa and Honey wander by. They join the game. Our other parents show up, and they join the game. And the end of the day, sun's going down. Everyone's tired and hungry and happy. And then brother and sister say, can you teach us how to play better? And Mama's like, yeah, you bet. That'd be fun. And having fun is what playing a game is all about. And Mama whips out a giant hardback book, Big Bear High Yearbook Soccer Star. And there's a picture of Mama, pre-Mama hat, but she's wearing a Mama-colored blue and white polka dot bow, wearing a soccer jersey with her foot up on a soccer ball, showing him the yearbook. And if my kids can tell you, if you want Daddy to shut up for a while, just hand him a photo of himself as a teenager, and he'll just be lost forever. So this book, The Berenstain Bears, We Love Soccer. Why do I love this book? Why do I enjoy this book? So it makes Mama the papa of this book. Normally, Papa would be the one who gets a little too excited about and he has in the past, a little too excited about the Cubs' interests, thinks they should be stars of the soccer field. And it's Mama, but Mama doesn't want her kids to be stars necessarily. She wants the Cubs to just win all the time. Not in an aggressive way either. I mean, not like in a like mean way, but in an aggressive way, in a way where we don't even realize what has happened is she's lost sight of the sport, of the game of the sport. And so back in the beginning, I said there are three things in the world. There's chores, sports, and games. And everything you do in the world, everything you'll ever do in your life is either a chore, sport, or a game. Talking to your friends, that's a game. Talking to your loved ones, that's a chore. Talking to yourself, that's a sport. I don't know. I'm just making this up. And I said at the top, soccer is definitely a sport. There's a winner, there's a loser. You have to exert physical energy. But Mama makes the point in this book that soccer is also a game. And by a game, we mean an enjoyable pastime. Something also with presumably a challenge of some sort of winning, some sort of sense of accomplishment at the end, but no real stakes. That's like to me, a game is like we're playing a game, but unlike a sport, it's taken a little less seriously. It's mostly for fun. Funsies, as we always say. It's all for funsies. And so what Mama has reminded herself of, and the Cubs have made it not even their goal. They have led by example. Another Berenstain Bears thing we like to see. Instead of lecturing Mama about it, they simply run away from home and start playing a game. Mama sees them and they invite her to play. And she recaptures what she loved about soccer in the first place, which is the freedom and joy of playing with your friends, of running around a field, playing kick a ball and scoring a goal against a child. So that's an immense point to make, which is your children will do things in order to improve themselves, whether it be playing a sport, whether it be swimming lessons, learning a musical instrument, taking a drama class, whatever. There is a level of competition to all of this. Even if they're not competing against other kids, they're competing against themselves. They're trying to get better. The idea is that they will improve and become better at this thing. However, it's easy to lose sight of the fun. Is it worth doing if the child doesn't enjoy it? Now, some parents say yes. Some parents say this isn't about having a good time. It's about improving yourself. Some parents say it's a balance. Some parents will say that's all it's about. If my kid isn't having fun, I'm not going to make them do it. Like, what's the point? Why spend money on something your kid isn't enjoying? And that's value. That's your values. I would say what do you value the most? Are you a parent who insists their child learn violin? They don't care if the kid is a good violinist or enjoys playing violin or has any passion about it. It is just important to the parent the child play violin. It's like any other schoolwork assignment. Child has to do it. They will most likely improve. They may never love it. They may dump it as soon as they become an adult. but that just makes a more well-rounded person. And that's the important thing, is you've added some sort of new facet to your brain. Or are you the kind of parent who's like, practice if you want to, but you seem to be having a good time. There's all different kinds of approaches to this. Mama was definitely of the win-win-win approach. The Cubs weren't down with that. It reminded me a little bit of in college, we had an acting teacher who was a nightmare. The students did not enjoy the way he taught. He yelled and screamed a lot. He tried to embarrass the students. He humiliated students. And at one point, one of the students stopped the class and yelled at him and said, "You can't talk to me that way. This isn't appropriate. You're not teaching us anything. You're just humiliating us." And the teacher got upset and told him to get out of my classroom. And he said, "No, I'm not going to get out of your classroom. It's my classroom too." And they came to blows, not like physical blows, but they came to emotional blows. But the next time the class convened, he was all, "You know what? I lost my temper, but I'm going to apologize to all of you. You're right. I wasn't doing a good job teaching this class. That's not a good way to teach people to become better performers, better actors." And from that moment on, he mellowed out and he worked more directly with the actors' strengths to help them develop. And that kind of reminds me of what the Cubs have done to Mama. They put their foot down. They didn't yell at Mama, but they just walked away. They were like, if this is what we're dealing with, we're going to walk away and do this the way we want to do it. And what's interesting is, once they saw that Mama was receptive, then they met her part way by saying, "We had a lot of fun. It's great to see you having fun. Can you teach us now to improve our game? Because that's what you were trying to do in the first place. But now we know that you'll be approaching it with a sense of fun and an adventure and exploration." And of all the sporting books we've read, I think this is my favorite because it's very applicable to all aspects of a child's life. The things that you need to learn versus the things that you just want to do versus that weird middle area. It's a spectrum. So that's the Berenstain Bears We Love Soccer. I think it's a good book. It's really a simple book to read. It's very, very easy reader, but I think it's a good book to read with your kids and talk about what Mama learned from this. And is there anything in your kids' lives that are like this that they feel like you're making them do that they don't have fun with? And is there any way we could make it fun, or that like you could take a different approach to? Or that you can do with them and find the fun in it? I don't know. I don't know anything about parenting because I'm a bad dad. Bad father. That's a lie. I'm a great father. And you know what this great father is going to do? This great father is going to be at the Minnesota Fringe Festival performing his one-man show. Phil Gonzalez, Raffish Ripoff Productions presents Lost in Bear Country. That's right. I will be doing a one-man show called Lost in Bear Country. It will be at the Minnesota Fringe Festival, which is at minnesotafringe.org. It'll be August 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th, and 13th. On the 5th, it'll be at 10. On the 6th, it'll be at 1. That's 10 p.m. On the 6th at 1 p.m. On the 7th at 8:30 p.m. At the 9th on 5:30 p.m. And on the 13th at 7 o'clock p.m. You can go to minnesotafringe.org to reserve tickets. You also got to buy an entry pass to the Fringe Festival. So it's like a festival with an entry charge that comes in the form of a button you wear. And then you buy your tickets for the shows. So come and see the show. It's going to be absolutely buck wild. I have no idea what to expect. The reason I bring it up specifically, though, is part of this episode was a little bit from the show. Just a little bit. Just part of the episode was from the show. What part? Who knows? I may not even do this part in the show because the show will be randomized and the things I discussed will be different each time. So if I don't do sports, then I won't even do part of this show. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you can't make it to the show, if you're like, I really enjoy Phil Gonzalez and I really want to help out, you can go to the Lost in Bear Country page on the minnesotafringe.org website, and there's a little icon of a dollar bill, y'all, and you can click that and you can tip the artist. That's right, you can Venmo me a tip if you want to contribute to the show, because I pay for the whole thing. So that's not true. Alana did pay for the postcards, which was very nice of her. But it's expensive to do a show. Like, these little costs just keep cropping up. So if you support the show, if you want to throw your support behind me, but you can't make it to the show, you can throw a tip my way. Go to minnesotafringe.org and take a look. And if you can't throw a tip my way, that's fine too, because you're awesome. We're all awesome. So go see Lost in Bear Country. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back soon with more deep in bear country books and wonderment and ideas and concepts. I lost myself in thought. That's it. Okay, bye. I mean, deep in bear country. Bye.